Hi, my name's Mark Perkins. I'm glad you've taken the time here to watch this little video introduction about Ho'oponopono. Times are kind of weird these days, and we're all kind of having to figure out where we're going next and what new normal, quote unquote, is going to look like. I found that Ho'oponopono gives us the capability to ensure that we are on the right level of relationship, that right relationship exists between us and everything around us. And I'm hoping that perhaps this will give you some idea of what Ho'oponopono is, and you can read up on it more and learn more about it and help get through this and reach that new normal and reach that right relationship with the new normal easily and effortlessly. Thanks very much. I hope you enjoy. Bye now.
So let's move on and talk about the definition of Ho'oponopono. So when you look at Hawaiian words, and I use Hawaiian words, this equates also to any of the Polynesian race words, you can analyze those words by breaking it down into its component parts. Very similar to German. Some of you may be familiar with German, and you see these incredibly descriptive words that are basically words that are strung together and put together to come up with the overall meaning that we're trying to get. So when we take a look at Ho'oponopono, you start with Ho'o, H-O apostrophe O, and that apostrophe is a guttural stop in the language. There are several theories on what the letter used to be that was in that spot, but nonetheless it's represented now as just an apostrophe. So H-O apostrophe O, Ho'o, is to make or to do or to cause or to bring about. So basically it's an action verb meaning to make something happen. Pono means balance or goodness or correctness or perfect order. Now, in Hawaiian, when you double a word, pono pono in this case, you're exponentially increasing the meaning. So as pono means good or goodness or balance, pono pono means incredibly good or absolute perfect order or absolute balance or perfect right relationships. All of those could be potential translations when looking at pono pono put together. So when we put the whole word together, ho'oponopono, what we're talking about is creating perfect order or reestablishing right relationships and restoring balance. So that'll give you an idea of the power in a simple term, ho'oponopono. So this was done, this restoring of balance and creating perfect order was done through discussion, prayer, honesty, ceremony, and forgiveness. And we're going to go into these in great detail in following modules. However, these are incredibly important key principles of Ho'oponopono. And this offers the ability to heal mentally, intrapersonally, physically, temporally, and on spiritual levels. So it covers the full gamut of where potential illnesses or where potential root causes of illnesses of symptoms might lie. It also really helps you to reconnect with your family, with loved ones, with yourself, and with those which you are or have been in connection, including spirit. And when I say connection, if you've talked with someone, if you've shaken their hand, etc., you are in connection with that person. It may not be a strong connection. It may not be one that's reinforced on a regular basis, but that connection exists. It also exists in anything you have touched or been involved with. The land, your house, objects that you own, objects that you find. All of those have a connection with the individuals that have touched and been with those connections before. We'll talk about that more here in just a bit. Additional definitions of Ho'opono. Let's talk a little bit about the objectives. Now, the objective of Ho'oponopono is to release negative and unwanted connections. And these are the type of connections that would cause imbalanced or inharmonious or negative situations. They might be caused by those situations. They also might cause those situations. So we're not talking about the positive connections you might have between yourself and your loved ones. We're talking about those negative, unwanted connections that are not supporting you. Objective also is to achieve balance and peace of mind within oneself, which is very important. This is, this self-love concept. Ho'oponopono is a way to help and reinforce that concept. We want to enhance that peace of mind and that balance with others, as we've already mentioned, but also with nature and with spirit, and to get you in balance and in right relationships with nature and with spirit. Ho'oponopono objective is to create healing. Healing starts with spirit. It starts in the spirit plane and then flows into the mental and the physical and the material planes. It starts with getting the etheric body, getting the map of what perfect health is for an individual in this body. Get that right first, and that will then filter down into the physical self. Now, it's important to realize that these imbalances and these healings and these unwanted connections could have happened in this lifetime, could have happened in previous lifetimes, could have happened within your family. And as I mentioned before, that symptom then appearing in you. We're looking to release spirits from individuals, places, situations, objects. You all have held an object and went, oh my gosh, this object is full of spirit and it's negative. Ho'oponopono can help you release that negativity, release that unwanted connection from that object, and to allow that object then to be used for good or to just be enjoyed for what it is. And what we're talking about here in this objective of Ho'oponopono is about freeing or loosening these connections as opposed to forgetting. Forgetting can harbor resentment. Freeing and loosening is about just letting it go, learning from it, but being done with it and no longer allowing it to influence or guide your life. And what Ho'oponopono is not about is about right or wrong. What it is about is making things more right. A situation that is negative may be viewed as wrong. However, you learned from it. There was something you learned. Even if you only learned Ho'oponopono, you learned something from the situation. So although our human brain views it as wrong and views the pain and remembers the pain associated with it, there was still something right into it. And so Ho'oponopono is making things more right, making things stronger into a balanced state, making relationships more harmonious and more supportive for everyone involved. So a little bit about the applications of Ho'oponopono. Where would you use Ho'oponopono? We've already had a few examples. But people with common disorders, issues, and complexes, Ho'oponopono does a wonderful job in releasing the root cause of those disorders, of those issues, especially of those complexes, of why you believe a certain thing to be true, why it drives your body, even though it may not be supportive to you. Ho'oponopono can help you release that connection, release those negative issues that are holding you back. When a person's close to death, Ho'oponopono can be used in psychopomp work from a shamanic standpoint to help the person cross over, to help the person calmly and efficiently cross over. In trauma situations, from a soul loss standpoint, like from accidents or suicides or drowning, Ho'oponopono can be used to help release those negative connections, giving the soul part a new place and a fresh place to live back in the body and allow it to return easily and efficiently. Many of you probably have worked with soul retrieval or heard of soul retrieval, and one of the first things you do in soul retrieval is to clear the area so that the soul part has a location to return to. Ho'oponopono is a wonderful way to clear that area and to make it prepared for that soul part to return. Of course, we already talked about disagreement between two or more people, between groups, etc. We've talked about victims of a curse. And, a curse, I put it in quotes here because really what I'm talking about here is the perceived understanding that you have been cursed, the acceptance that you have been cursed, and releasing that curse so that you can move forward. Once a person's deceased, a lot of times their spirit does not move on properly. And you can use Ho'oponopono to release that spirit, be that a human spirit, nature spirit, whatever the case may be, but to release that spirit so that it can move on and so the location can be free of any negative energy that may have been associated. Any type of misuse of spirit or of nature can be released via Ho'oponopono. You can heal the land, you can heal the water. You can heal the air through Ho'oponopono. Any type of possession, be that possession of a person or possession of a thing, can be released via Ho'oponopono, but by breaking those connections, by allowing those connections to be freed and move on. And anytime you're walking into a new endeavor and you're feeling a little bit unsure about what you're doing, you can use Ho'oponopono to release any negative connections that might be there. I'll give you an example of that during the drumming that we did at the very beginning of this course. My intention during that drumming was to release any negative, unwanted connections between myself and any of you students that happen to be out there. I may not know that we have a negative connection between ourselves. This negative connection could have been several lifetimes back. I wanted to ensure at the beginning of this class, at the beginning of this new endeavor, for you and for me, we release any negative, unwanted energies that we have between each other and that we are allowed to enter into this class, enter into this relationship from equal playing fields so that we can all learn and grow without any excess baggage sitting around causing issues. So additional uses for Ho'oponopono, you can use it before and after going to the hospital. Hospitals are, in most cases, full of spirits, soul parts that have jumped out, people that have passed, and all of those situations, Ho'oponopono can be used to keep you safe and to also support those souls that are still hanging around and allow them to release and go home. If you're just visiting a hospital too, you would want to do Ho'oponopono to protect yourself, to release any negative, unwanted energies you happen to pick up or that you have so that you don't impart those negative connections to anyone in the hospital. Hospital is a specific example, but anytime you're going somewhere or you're traveling somewhere, be that for work or church or just going to the store, but especially if you're going on vacation or you're going on a business trip, you can release those negative connections of the location you're going to. You can release negative connections of the people you're going to meet and from yourself so that the travel is far more enjoyable and far smoother than what it would be with these negative connections. We already talked about business trips, but specifically in a business meeting, be that a true business meeting, an interview, a court, when you're visiting with your in-laws, releasing those negative unwanted connections prior to starting the meeting will allow the meeting to go far smoother. Very similar example to that is what I did with the drumming before our meeting, before our class today. When you go past an accident, when you hear the sirens for the ambulance going by you, you can offer a Ho'oponopono prayer to release any of the negative unwanted energies that might be associated with that accident. That will help the people involved in the situation to heal quicker. Now, that could be down to the people actually in the accident. It could also include the police and the firemen and the doctors, or just a passerby who happened to see the accident and might be traumatized. They're connected to that situation, and because they're connected to that situation, we need to release those negative connections before it starts to cause symptoms. When you go into a building, a home, you can release any negative unwanted energies you might have with that building, or any negative unwanted energies that might be part of that building. You can release them so that they don't influence you. When you go into nature, respect for nature is absolutely important. It's absolutely important to do something like Ho'oponopono, to ask for forgiveness before you enter into nature. Before you enter into a sacred space in nature, say a vortex or something like that, you can do Ho'oponopono to release any negativity that you have so that you don't bring that into nature. You don't bring that into that sacred space. And Ho'oponopono is wonderful before meditating. When you start your meditation, as you're doing your meditation, releasing those negative unwanted energies that might be interfering with your ability to meditate can be very beneficial, can really improve your meditative practice and allow you to get more out of it.